hetero and homosexuality, both of which coexist happily alongside polyamory, Krishna with many gopis, and celibacy, saints with matted hair. I am fascinated by these multiple versions of desire because these are the desires with which I grew up. All around me in the Delhi of the 1970s and 80s were Hindi films that celebrated same-sex attachments, Anand, older women desiring younger men, Dusra Admi, and cross-couple desire, Angur. Equally, there was Bharatnatyam dance in which dancers played the parts of both men and women, lover and beloved, Sufi qawwalis that sang of mutual longing between two men, and dotting the landscape were transgendered hijras whom we were taught to respect at all times. Stop quote. Now, there are many aspects to this history of desire. First, our mythology is replete with it. Indeed, it could be argued that our mythology has a sophisticated understanding of it, starting with the depiction of Kama. Menon writes, quote, Kama, the Hindu god of romantic and sexual desire, is Ananga, without limbs, and therefore without a body, which means that historically in India, desire is seen as being everywhere. Anything can be considered an object or subject of desire. Stop quote. Menon quotes Shakuntala Devi as pointing out that, quote, in the Ramayana, Rama is described as Purusha Mohana Rupaya, so handsome as to be pleasing even to men. Stop quote. Menon writes that this description, quote, suggests more than a passing knowledge several centuries ago of what kind of man might appear attractive to other men. Tales of amorous, sometimes adulterous play among Radha, Krishna and the gopis have provided the richest vein for artistic production across the centuries and across schools of dance, poetry, song and painting. Stop quote. An illustration of how unconventional forms of love and sex are embedded in Indian mythology comes from the story of Ayyappan, the presiding deity at Sabarimala. Now, Sabarimala has been in the news recently because of his tradition of women of menstruating age not being allowed inside the shrine. Why is this? Menon explains, quote, Ayyappan is a celibate god. This is a reason cited for not allowing women in the vicinity of his temple. This version of events ties in with predictable and drearily misogynistic narratives about A, menstruating women being unclean, and B, women more generally being seductresses. Clearly, this is a symbolic ban. The keepers of the shrine cannot seriously fear that a god, materially made from sculpted stone, wood and metal, will be defiled by having menstruating women at his shrine. Stop quote. Menon objects to the assumption that Ayyappan is a normal heterosexual god, while there is no indication of that in mythology. If anything, in fact, his origin story is pretty funky, involving the union of two iconic male gods, Shiva and Vishnu. Menon writes, quote, the tale of Ayyappan's two fathers